In the last few years, gaming hasn't been the same because I had nothing to occupy that casual arcade shooter slot. As a teenager, I played the original COD 4 and every Call of Duty afterwards, but it wasn't the same for me after they introduced skill-based matchmaking. The idea behind it is to match up players that are of similar skill level so the game would be fair, which is fine for a ranked queue, but in a casual public lobby for Call of Duty, that spelled the end of Call of Duty for me. The game was always about me jumping into matches that are 10 minutes max, but usually end after 5 minutes, rack up kills, get kill streak rewards, and maybe drop the occasional nuke. All the meanwhile I'm progressing through the game and unlocking stuff, which is always satisfying. The fact that the game was casual meant that I could go into autopilot, listen to something in the background, and wind down. Now that the game makes every lobby essentially a ranked match, it's not as fun. I actually have to sweat a little bit if I want to get a shitty UAV. The game is no longer casual, so it demands way more focus, and because teams are evenly matched, the games reach the time limit way more often than not. Now that I'm an adult with a job and other responsibilities, having that mindless arcade shooter experience that is 10 minutes max and doesn't require too much attention is really important for me to wind down while not committing too much of my time. I can't get into games like Tarkov or League of Legends because they're way too lengthy, frustrating, and can almost become a second job. Thankfully, I have a game that now occupies that slot and satisfies that itch, and I'm not cheating you, it's War Thunder. Now before you leave a dislike on the video and click off of it, it's not sponsored and I'm serious. I'm not a fan of Gaijin, the company behind the game. And its free-to-play nature makes it so the game is aggressively monetized in ways that I don't like, and most players probably wouldn't as well. Sadly, in this modern gaming market, you have $70 AAA titles with way worse monetization schemes, so it's easier to ignore in a free-to-play game. The game does have annoying bugs and premium vehicles which can be strong for even their own rating. You'll also struggle a bit to gain in-game currency as a free-to-play player until you get good in the game. But this is all still worth it, specifically for the arcade aviation section of the game. In the arcade aviation part of the game, you have 10 different countries to pick from at any time, with their own separate progression of planes that are usually from World War I up until modern day jets, excluding the most recent ones like the F-35. The progression in the game is very grindy, but I enjoy it being there. Just like the weapons and camos I unlocked in Call of Duty as a teenager, it's a nice thing to have and to strive for. In every country you have 5 crews with their own skills that you level up, and each one in the arcade mode is a respawn essentially. This means that you jump into the game, spawn for 1 to 10 times depending on how many crews you have, get your kills, die eventually, and then you're on to the next game pretty quickly. The fact that the game is based around planes in an open battlefield means that there are no aggravating tactics like camping or sniping, which on their own are perfectly fine, but annoying when you try to run and gun. I love the fact that you can't really bullshit your way into a kill in this game. You either have to engage the enemy and come out on top, or outmaneuver them to the point where you're behind them and can score a kill while they try to evade you. Most of the games are very short in arcade because you start in mid-air, so you don't need to take off from a runway. You'll have your first engagement within 20 seconds. And like the classic Call of Duty games, after putting several hours and watching maybe a few good videos on how to score kills, I got pretty competent at the arcade mode to a point where I can reliably score 8 to 12 kills in every match and lead the lobby with just 4 respawns. Keep in mind that unlike Call of Duty, most of the damage you accumulate during the game cannot be fixed mid-air. Only if you land in an airstrip, you can then make repairs that take 20 to 30 seconds depending on your crew's repair skill level. Despite the fact that it's really grindy once you get to the jets part of the game, you can jump into a match pretty quickly, spawn, die 4 or 5 times, and get out of the match in 5 to 10 minutes, all the while progressing to the next plane in your tech tree. I'm glad I can finally just go in, play a game with my mind turned off, and chill while listening to something in the background without committing too much of my time, like I would in a typical League of Legends match, for example. If you're a fan of aviation, it's double fun. For me, it's just an extra bonus to the game, which makes it a bit more fun, and as I play the game, I've slowly grown more interested and more appreciative of military aviation. The arcade mode doesn't include skill-based matchmaking, not as far as I can tell. I'm not a top 1% player, but I can very reliably get top 3 in every lobby and even score kills against planes that are a grade above mine. The only thing the game seemingly looks for while it's matchmaking is players in your area, and instead of skill-based matchmaking, the game looks for matches based on your vehicle level, which is way better. Imagine how fun it would be if your Call of Duty class had only a pistol, and the game would match you only with players that have pistols or weapons that are similarly rated. And the final smallest feature, but the best one in my opinion, is that the game doesn't force you to view ridiculous skins that break immersion even in an arcade game and have no business in the game. You can actually turn on a toggle in-game so you'll only see historically accurate skins and not Nicki Minaj slide cancelling to pump me full of holes as I die 1 kill away from my stupid UAV. Sadly, there's no experience like it on the market right now. There's no 10 minutes max casual arcade shooters out there with a satisfying progression system. Most games don't allow you to turn off annoying skins that you don't like and break the immersion of the game, and modern shooters are becoming way too deep and wide skill-wise, which means you need to put twice as much effort into the game just to be average. There's nothing particularly revolutionary about this game. It just occupies a spot that many other games left because there's way more money in an algorithm that is optimized to keep you playing instead of having fun. War Thunder keeps you playing with grindy progression and a ton of unlocks that you can unlock faster if you pay money. It doesn't need to shelter bad players with skill-based matchmaking. You keep playing because you want to unlock that F-16 one day. And once you're done, you can jump onto the next country you like and finish their tech tree. I think Gaijin randomly stumbled into currently the best casual arcade shooter by pure dumb luck. And I'm glad I found it.